Hi, my name's Dface, aka Dean Stockton. I'm at Corrie Helford Gallery for my solo show on the 23rd of September. It's called Happy Never Ending. Welcome. The theme of the show is love, loss, romance, heartbreak, heartfelt feelings, loved ones. It's about relationships, basically, or relationships. This body of work is a continuation of my last show, I guess. It was a Malaga CSE museum show. It's a continuation of that body of work. Obviously graphic, punchy, bold imagery, couples, romance. This work is more refined. You know, I've fallen better into my pace and steadied my style. I feel these are more refined pieces of work than I have done previously. They're also not directly referencing anything that's been previously done, all completely from my catalogue. Paintings in here from the last 5 years, I guess, of my mural painting around the world. So we've got pieces from Mexico, we've got pieces from Indonesia, we've got pieces from Eleuthera that all come together in one space. I mean, the influences directly are comic book artists, great graphics, Jim Phillips, people like that, where they were the people I grew up looking at and being inspired by as a teenager. And obviously that's infiltrated my world. Obviously Liechtenstein, someone that's a huge inspiration to me. For me, if I get up in the morning, it's a beautiful morning, I get on my bike and I ride and I have my visor open, it's like it feels like a stream of spring water running through my eyes. And it's really refreshing. So there's that motion and movement that I try and bring into my work. You know, the Think Bike piece is about you riding fast and someone making that turn on you and that feeling of like, oh crap, I'm going to hit this car. And you know, if you see that piece and you've ridden motorbikes, you'll know exactly how that feels. So Love Struck is a mural that's painted on the 10 freeway. And it's about that feeling of falling in love. You know, you just meet that person, the connection you have to that person, and it's literally like being struck down. I painted that piece by the side of the freeway. I wanted to give like hope to people as they drive past it, that there's that feeling of love, and if they're not in a relationship, then maybe there's a loved one out there for them. And I think everyone can relate to how that feels when you've met that perfect match. And that often leads to heartbreak. You know, that doesn't always work out how you've planned it, but there's nothing like that initial feeling of falling in love. So this is the full crop of what is Blink-182's most recent album, called California. Obviously the full image wasn't used, but this is what the full image was. It's called Drive By Shouting. Most people know it's the Blink-182 album art. A picture of a lady shouting at a man, and the man has that look about him that's just like, I've heard this a million times, how much longer am I going to do it? He is death. Is he death, or is he deathly? Is he having the life drained out of him by this ongoing situation with this beautiful but crazy girlfriend? So I've painted, printed and reworked 100 romance novels. So in England, you usually have a book called Mills and Boon. It's like the typical board housewife's book that they used to read in the 70s and 80s, that is about the window cleaner romancing them, the gardener romancing them. They're always very typically the same. Screen printed, painted, hand painted, just a multitude of like techniques, anything in order to get the right finish on those. The majority are a combination of hand painting and screen printing. Obviously, saying nothing lasts forever is the idea of a relationship. Does it last forever? Does anything last forever? Obviously, when you're painting and putting work within the public domain, that's open to somebody not liking it, it's open to other artists not liking it, it's open for it getting painted over or buffed, which is very prevalent within public domain work, graffiti and street art. So this is tying both my interests and passions into one piece. So I think kind of an important piece of work within the context of the show. I think the way I've painted murals has affected how I paint a canvas, and possibly how I've painted canvas originally affected how I painted murals. You know, I use a similar process to paint a mural as I do a canvas, albeit much larger scale when it's a mural, much tighter and smaller when it's a canvas. Obviously painting within the studio, it gives me more time and the ability to refine my process and technique. And obviously when you're painting in public and it's so much larger, you can get away with a few more indiscretions. Similar techniques, similar processes. I try and use a household emulsion that will last a long time in the street, and also when you paint it on a canvas, it's going to last a lifetime. So I always like to bring an installation element into my body of work, into my shows. So for this one, we built a chapel with some tombstones. I wanted the bring in the ideal, most romantic gesture that you could make as part of this body of work, and that ideal was to get somebody married or marry some people in the show. So I've been ordained. We've got a volunteered couple that are prepared to get married. They've been together for a while. Saturday night, we're going to marry somebody. It'll be the first Dface wedding, maybe the only one.